It's so stupid. Like who? What pirate crew joins us? Is like, oh man, this is so cool. We're gonna be like kittens. We're gonna be kitty cats.
What's like if Coral orders it? Like, I doubt any of them are gonna like go
Why?
against him.
Why would
He's
Kuro
like, from
order
now on,
it?
you are gonna dress up like kitty cats, and y'all will like it.
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum.
Hello, this is Adrian from my channel Random Drop, and this is the Bite of Gum Gum podcast. And I have my friend Bryce here, my co-host. How you doing this week, Bryce?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, we actually had like quite a bit of support, and I'm super excited. Of course, we're starting off super small, but it is doing way better than I actually thought I would. Like, of course, we have family and friends, but also like just regular other people, right? Just listening to a random ass podcast about One Piece on YouTube, and I'm really appreciative of it. Of course, if you can, again, share, like, it puts us in the algorithm, and it just helps us out a ton, right? But I think we have like around 20 hours watched or listened to, which is super exciting, right? I'm ready to do more, basically.
Mhm.
So this week we're gonna focus on the syrup arc and the Baratie. How do you pronounce it? Baratie. Yeah, I mean, do you remember?
Restaurant?
Yeah, the name of
Nah,
the
dude.
restaurant. Yeah, okay, it's probably like a decade for you. So
A
I
long ass
imagine,
time.
I imagine you remember some points, and we'll go through them. But both of these arcs are really they're both really good, right? And we're just gonna go through it here.
Mhm.
As you're well acquainted, I do not like Usopp, or had this like weird pre-existing no reason hate for him. And I think
It's
going
the nose.
it might be the nose, which like now that I've gotten through these episodes, that doesn't bother me so much. I think it might have been his fucking voice in the 4Kids version, dude. I think that's like what
Yeah.
set me over the edge. Do you remember it at all?
He did have a very nasally voice.
Yeah, just like I'm Usopp, and I'm like fucking, and you're
Yeah.
using a slingshot and shit. Yeah, like he was so lame, and the 4Kids version did not help him. Let's just go through this. I mean, we have nothing else to talk about, right? Let's just dig into these episodes, right? Like, it's 2 arcs, it's 20 episodes, but we're gonna go through them a little faster, and I'm picking and choosing like what I thought were the most important bits, because there's some, it's a shonen. There's pacing issues sometimes, or sometimes they throw in an enemy that like doesn't really need to be there, but it's just there to like lengthen the show or some shit. I'm looking at you, fucking Pearl, man. So instantly, I have every reason to hate Usopp. He is the fucking Cry Wolf kid, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, what more of a least attractive like character trait? He goes to the freaking forest every day, or not the forest, the village every day, and cries wolf, basically that pirates are coming. There's so far like he is, I guess, supposed to be that trickster type character, I'm guessing, or like
If you
that
want to call it
archetype.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who like talks big all the time, but is actually like a coward a lot of times. And then he has his moments, right? I'm like, that's what I was initially thinking going through this. He has some, he has like little follower shit kids. I forgot what they're called, the Veggie Crew and that might have been the English version. But he has some little dudes that are like following him around and kind of look up to him. He finally sees actually pirates coming, and like it's right. What do you think is gonna happen? Like no one's gonna listen to him. So he sits and tries to scare everyone away, and he's like, "I'm Usopp. I got like 1 million followers," and some dumb shit like that. And of course, everyone except Luffy sees through it. Because of course he's just a nobody, and Nami instantly figures out what's going on, and Luffy's like fucking threatening his ass. He's like, "Yo, you wanna actually go? Like, we'll kill you. We'll actually do it." And that's pretty much how they meet Usopp. I really like these episodes were fine. Like this first couple episodes, right? I really didn't know what to expect with this arc at all. As you know, like this arc kind of goes places, or like a lot happens. There's some like cool villains and stuff, which is like the first time we get to like see a villain, right? Because like Buggy was there, but he didn't like really do much. It didn't seem like he kind of just didn't do much, really. Like
It's
he
like
had like one or two moments.
it's like Buggy's like baby's first pirate captain fight.
Yeah, yeah. He's like someone you think like yeah, like just like Captain Aldiva was at the like very first episode, right? It's like just someone you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
might never see this person again. But I'm starting to notice the theme of like what they do with some villains. That like I'll probably end up seeing a lot of these motherfuckers again. But real quick, like, uh, well, when they meet up, right? The Usopp, Luffy's like, "Oh, you must be Usopp. I know your dad, Yasop. You look just like him," which he doesn't at all. The
He takes
most
more after his mother.
he definitely does. Holy shit! Maybe that's like that mouth there. That's like about all he's got. Maybe the shape of his face as well. Definitely didn't get
Maybe it's
those
his lips.
golden
Yeah.
locks. Yeah, it's mostly the lips. I'm gonna be quite honest.
He's got the big old lips.
But this dude fucking abandons his family, and the Yasop like looks up to him for some fucking reason.
Well, Usopp is suffering from Gon Freaksis syndrome, and it's not very good.
Going what syndrome?
Gon Freaksis is
What
like
the hell is that?
from Hunter x Hunter.
Freaksis.
Literally. Yes.
What is that again?
That's
Oh
his
my
last
God.
name. That's Gon's last name.
Oh yeah, okay, I get it. Going freaks.
Yeah, they're
Got
exactly the same, dude. He's
Yeah,
like, oh, my dad he left me behind to do this thing. It must be the most like badass thing to
the
do.
most coolest shit ever. I want to go do that, even though he leaves
Yeah.
me and my mother to die.
And-
And we'll get into that later. But just like, okay, dude, like, yeah, your dad's out there, and he's still out there. Did he even come to the mother's grave? Like, maybe we'll revisit Yasop's dad at some point, or Usopp's dad at some point. Maybe we won't, and they'll think it's like the coolest shit ever. Because if anything, these two arcs showed me is like, oh yeah, this is an old show. I shouldn't think much deeper about it, right? That's kind of where I landed at the beginning, because one thing about this island is there's like this rich girl who lost her family, right, mother and father, and she's been taken care of. I think it was, I don't know what it was in English, but it was like the stress of her parents dying, like made her really sick and weak. Like I guess it just like broke her. And she's getting like taken care of her like butler and stuff, but basically Usopp shows up to try to cheer her up every now and then, and just like tells her like these grand adventures he's going on, which are obviously bullshit. But hey, he's telling her these stories and she's like enjoying it, right? Which at this point
Yeah.
of the story, you don't really know if she like actually believes him or not. But they have this like relationship going on of like they're just friends, right? But her butler's a dickhead, like doesn't want him hanging out. There's a really funny scene where the little kids are trying to follow Nami and the crew because they're like where's Usopp? Where's Usopp? What did they do with him? And they just run in and like Luffy's full of food, and they're like, what the fuck happened to our captain? And fucking Zoro gives this face here. He's like, we ate him.
Yeah.
And then they like don't even. The thing is, they don't even like go like, oh no, what, this guy ate him. They like immediately look at Nami and call her a fucking hag because they think she like cooked them up and ate them. It's pretty good bit here. I did like it. I do like yeah, look her face there, because there's like this problem in, like recent anime or like newer anime, right? Where they like don't mess with the like proportions or faces or anything, so like people tend to come off as stiff. But One Piece has this like
Right.
really good style of like the characters are very cartoony, so that means they could literally do anything with their body shapes and how they express things.
Yeah.
And it works both ways for like comedic effects, right? And like when like someone's bawling their eyes out, they like make the most crying face you could ever make, right?
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like I really, the art style initially of One Piece pushed me away because it was just so. There's nothing. There's no other show in anime that looks like it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
you should see that Boruto cry scene. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm
Boruto.
talking about.
Yeah, I have not kept up with Boruto at all, but yeah, it's just really yeah. I mean, I'm liking it more and more, like getting used to it. The character designs are super wacky as shit, and reminds me of the JoJo creator of like he kind of just draws what he wants to draw and doesn't like really care. Like this guy here, why does he have striped fucking black lines on his feet for his shoes and all that, right? Like it's just like this weird style thing that
Mm.
he just kind of does his own thing. Like this Michael Jackson ass motherfucker with his love glasses and all that, and the way he moves. Oh, what is it, Django?
Yeah, that's my
Let's
boy
see.
Django.
Django, and I think he's so lame, dude. Like, I get his power type, right, and like what he can do, but he's so fucking lame. Um, yeah, and this episode here, number 10, weirdest guy ever, Django the hypnotist, is where we meet Django, and the episode really starts off with the one of the head butlers, right, doesn't like Usopp visiting. What's her face? What is her name? You probably have no memory of it at this point. Kaya.
I don't. Kaya, okay.
Kaya
Miss
is her
Kaya.
name, and her butler's Clahador.
Whoa,
And
Flahador. Is that what they called him
Clahador,
in the English
Clahador.
one?
Definitely not his
I
real
know he
name.
went by an alias. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
he went by an alias.
Yeah. Usopp punches Clahador because Clahador's like, you're pirates and you're all scum and shit, and your dad left you, which is very true, but you know, whatever. And it sets Usopp to like punching the butler and just causing more. But Clahador and Kaya have like this loving relationship, like he's taking care of her and all that. Clahador was apparently a guy who was like starving, had no money, and was like abandoned like by his crew or something. And then Kaya's father took him in. You know, he worked his way up, gained all that trust and all that, and is respected by the family and respected like by everyone in town. Here we have Django coming in, and he shows his hypnotist powers. Really, not much of a scene that does much else. Like, do you actually like Django?
Yeah, dude. Why wouldn't I? Look at him.
Just look at him. He has his dumb chakrams and his weird workout socks. And yeah, I mean, and then he knocks himself out every time with his own shit. That leads to when Usopp and Claudio got in a fight. Usopp went off to like sulk, right, at the edge of the island, and this is where he catches Clahodor and fucking Michael Jackson, Django, plotting to kill Kaya, because this whole time it's been a long con of this pirate going undercover to gain trust and then eventually assassinate her with like a fake like they're gonna make it look like an accident, and that's like the whole plan, right?
Right.
And to me, I'm thinking like, oh, this is because I really didn't know where this arc was going at first, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting, huh? Like, oh, I imagine, like, really what I thought was gonna happen is like, oh, the butler went undercover but actually like cares about the family and all that shit, and maybe there was gonna be some more like turmoil in regards to like, oh, you didn't listen to your boss and now he has to like do this shit. I imagine there's a lot more going on to this, right, other than we're just gonna kill this girl and rob her ass.
Yeah, that's it. You got it, man.
And like, because like they even mention like, oh, Usopp always goes over there when he's sad, right? So I thought, because they like showed Claudor as this great planner, I thought he was like, oh, they staged the discussion there so that he would hope Usopp would hear it, right? So that like someone would like try to like stop them and, you know, try to stop the whole thing from happening, basically. But that is not this show at all. That is not what the fucking butler's evil as shit. And there's like it's like on a dial, dude. It's fucking hilarious. Cause yeah, like here's like, oh, they heard us, and he's just like, nah, no one ever believe him. Apparently, he was this old like super pirate that everyone thinks is
Mhm.
dead, and he's been playing a long con, and he's actually an idiot, and is just talking out in the open of their crazy ass plans, and doesn't
Mhm.
like look around or plan for people to be around to hear him. Which is, I guess, he's known as Captain Kuro, and and yeah, the Luffy's just like straight up like, "Yay, I hear you," and then they just knock his ass out because a lot of the show is right now, anyways. I don't know if it's later seasons, but it's like the Superman effect. Like, how can we keep Superman from the actual fight long enough for there to be a plot, right?
Mhm.
Because when Luffy shows up, there's he resolves the issue usually. So in this case, Luffy falls off a cliff and knocks himself out, right? And this is like not the
Yeah.
first time that happens in these series, but right now like kind of keeps happening, right? Luffy's asleep. Luffy's under a fucking piece of debris. Luffy's fucking off somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just really funny to see because right now like we can't really tell his power level in any way. It's just kind of like Luffy kind of does what he wants right now. I am waiting for the episode where he gets his shit kicked in at some point. I imagine we'll hit that point eventually. But let's see here. And yeah, I mean, this episode is just them finding out about all that and like the plot and whatnot. Let's see, episode 11. Episode 11 is expose the plot. It is just Usopp. What do you think, Bryce, is going to happen when you're a habitual liar running to the village that pirates are going to attack?
I mean, no one's gonna believe him. I know.
Yeah, of course. So Usopp is a fucking idiot.
And like Kuro's gained the trust of like the village and everything. They're like he's a pirate? No way. He's been with the family like for years. And
Yeah,
this guy tells lies every single day. Of course. I mean, it's no contest.
yeah, and it's just immediately, um,
It's literally a battle between a bad liar and then a good liar.
actually, yeah, that's actually a really smart way of thinking about it. And who the fuck is this Mary guy? And why does he look like a goat? Oh, there he is. Look at
Yeah.
him. Is this guy like
Goat man.
later they're gonna get a ship, right? And it's very much themed around this guy, and I
Mhm.
wonder why. Is he gonna show up later, or is it the fact that he's just a butler and his name is Mary? So there's a boat that is themed after him, even though he's done nothing in the series yet. It's super confusing, which I guess you shouldn't answer if there is anything. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's Mary. Kaya got a gift for Clawdor, some new glasses, because the ones he has, he's always pushing them up because they don't fit his head right. And yeah, they find Luffy knocked out. And of course, Usopp is going to come and tell her everything. And of course, no one's going to believe him. And that's pretty much this episode. Yeah, it's just like flashbacks. And he like forcefully tries to take her. And like Usopp fucking murders her guards, which I'm sure is going to make her feel better. I'm sure this is proving his point.
Mhm.
And she slaps him to get away. And Mary taking a shot at Usopp.
Marion pulls out his gat.
And yeah, he pulls out his gun and shoots Usopp in the arm, but he just runs off. And that's really about it. Like, fucking Kuro again. Like, I was still thinking, like, oh, maybe he's like gonna do something, right? But then he just keeps talking to himself, like, no, I'm gonna kill this girl. Every time he's alone, it's like, okay, maybe he's not actually a two-sided character at all. The episode opens up with Mary and Kuro talking, and him finding his gift from Kaya, and he just starts, maniacally laughing. And I think I wrote in my notes here, never mind, the butler is fucking evil. Like, oh wait, super fucking evil, because he just like cuts down Mary right there in the fucking right on the spot, dude. Let's see here. Yeah, he just cuts down Mary with his crazy ass. What do you think
Fucking
of
Freddy
Kuro's?
Krueger ass
Yeah,
hands.
what do you think of his weapon here?
When I was a kid, I thought it was badass. I thought it was so fucking cool, dude.
I
I didn't
think
know how the show could get better. I was like, damn, this guy has freaking knife hands.
they're
But
cat
I had
they're
never seen.
cat mittens, dude. They're
Yeah.
cat mittens. The whole theme around the cat thing is so fucking dumb. But I imagine, yes, it looks cool, but it's so silly and weird as well. His crew, they all have like cat makeup and shit. They're all themed around cats. Then this motherfucker with his
Oh, okay.
Freddy Krueger claws. Did you not notice the cat thing with his
No, I
crew?
did. I
You
remember the
remember
crew
now?
being all
Yeah.
cat themed, and that makes it even better.
But like, if you look at his gloves, they're little mittens, and it's just like, and I was thinking like, those things are too long. They're gonna snap, which I'm fucking right later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so
Like he has his crew put them on for him, right? Am I
no,
remembering that wrong?
you're misremembering that. Yeah, that or it was a 4 Kids edit, but it
I
never.
could have sworn I've seen like
It's
his
just like
crew put like his hands on
no, he's
for
like
him.
kind of puts them on like a G. And here they're defending a slope because they're like, hey, they have to get past this slope to get to
Uh-huh.
us, and there's another slope. There's another slope on the north side of the island that Usopp didn't mention, and they just wasted a bunch of fucking time here. And the other slope is where, which I don't know why the other characters didn't think of this either, but whatever. The other slope is where they park their fucking boat with all their treasure, right? So immediately Nami hears that and she's like, "Our fucking treasure, dude!" And she just bolts. Yes. Oh no, their face. She just immediately is like, "Our fucking treasure," and then like, I think they accidentally fall down the slope. Her and Zoro, the slope of grease. By the way, their plan was to lather in grease so that they like wouldn't be able to climb up. Even though I'm sure pirates have climbing ropes, but whatever. And yeah, they're just freaking about the treasure. They're like, "Oh, Luffy, go get him!" And he just fucking runs off like an idiot, with no like actual sense of direction. And ends up Usopp is the fucking first one to arrive because everyone's either lost, fallen off the slope, or they don't know how to get there, right? And
Right.
so Usopp is the first one to fucking arrive with these fucking giant amount of pirates about to attack the city.
Look at the cat pirates.
Yeah, their little black makeup and their little ears.
Gears.
Like, it's so stupid. Like what pirate crew joins us is like, oh man, this is so cool. We're gonna be like kittens. We're gonna be kitty cats.
What's like if Coral orders it? Like I doubt any of them are gonna like go
Why-
against him.
Why would
He's
Kuro
like, from
order
now
it?
on, you are gonna dress up like kitty cats, and y'all will like it.
Why would he order it though? He's like this crazy assassin guy. He's like, all right, I really like cats though. I really like black cats.
Well, he's pretty sadistic. I feel like that's part of his nature, just being an asshole. Because he doesn't wear it. Django doesn't wear it. Django's somehow like
Django,
exempt
yeah.
from wearing the cat uniform.
Well, in the flashback, I think he's wearing something. Because there's a flashback later before everything happened. Because basically was they attacked the ship and then they like got one of their crewmates to believe they were Kuro so that they would execute that guy. And everyone would think Kuro is dead, right? And this all happened way back when. Usopp being useless with his fucking slingshot because it's a slingshot. I mean, he got a couple of dudes, but like whatever. Nami's pissed because they got her treasure. And oh yeah, I think Usopp is like, hey, if you take that treasure, you're good. Just hey, you can have that treasure and leave. And Nami's like, what the fuck? Don't you do that? It's our treasure, you asshole. But they eventually get up and just start kicking the shit out of Usopp, which okay, like he starts showing like a bit more character, right, and like resolve and stuff. Of course, it's like designed for you to like him more. Like really, my Usopp hate has no real basis or ground other than his like stupid fucking voice and all that shit. I'm at the point like here, like I'm not like him. I don't think he's like, oh, this awesome character or something.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's not that bad.
But he's like, yeah, he's fine. Like, yeah, okay, he's a shonen protagonist.
Mhm.
I wish he didn't use a slingshot, but we'll get there, Usopp. One day at a time. Luffy and fucking Zoro finally arrive. Zoro's pissed because Nami not used his body to get up the fucking the sludge, and the only way Zoro was able to go, which finally Zoro used his brain, is that he used the swords to climb up, rather than just trying to walk up it. And really, that's this episode. Kuro is like, so these pirates were supposed to attack at dawn, and like it's been its way past that now, and he's sitting there waiting like, what the fuck is going on? And he's just getting angrier and angrier, and he finally stands up and is like, okay, well, I'll go handle it myself. And the next episode after that is the terrifying duo, the Meow Man brothers versus Zoro. Do you remember these guys at all?
Meow Man. It sounds familiar.
The Meow Man brothers. Yeah, we'll get there here. Kuro is getting mad, and he just picks up a bag of tools, let's say, and starts walking to the shoreline. Django can like use his hypnosis to actually like make everyone stronger and have them believe they're stronger. So he's like a buffer type, right? Mm-hmm. Well, idiot ass Luffy from way back in the back saw him doing that and got hypnotized, so he got way stronger. So he's just like a rage machine on these guys, and yeah, he just starts kicking their shits in. What a simple-minded person. Yeah, he just starts like gum gatling, which I think this is the first time we see this. His like ora thing from long distance. Luffy's super like a rage monster, and he like rips the, what is this called? I have no idea what the front of the ship is called, but the pointy part of the ship.
I'm dumb. I don't know.
the pointy part of the ship. He rips that shit off, and
it's like for the people who's not on the YouTube version, we're talking about the very front of the ship where like they would hang like a mermaid statue.
Yeah, like a lady, right, or something.
Yeah.
And this one's a kitty cat.
Yeah, it's the most generic way of explaining it.
Yeah.
A little decoration.
That like they definitely don't say that shit in the show. Not many like nautical terms, I don't think, unless I've been missing them. But yeah, he rips it off and like smashes a bunch of pirates there, and then of course the Superman effect. Luffy gets knocked out and is under the thing the whole time for like the next 6 episodes. He's just asleep underneath the debris. Kaya finally decides to walk out and finds Mary fucking super dead.
Nice. He's on the ground, like,
yeah.
He spilled the strawberry jam.
He spilled this, of course, super edited in the 4Kids version. Like, not even any sign of blood. The asshole like stepped on his present, showing that like he is like super gone and not actually her friend. And then she realizes that, oh, Usopp was not lying to me and I slapped him. I feel like shit. And that's about it. The Meow Band brothers, I think. I don't think they popped out yet.
There they are. Yeah, I remember those guys.
But eventually, yeah, the Meow Band brothers are like, hey, what's going on? And Django's like, oh, our trump cards. You called, Captain Django? And look at these motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah, dude, look at them.
I think
they're great.
Their names are Shiam and Bucci. Butchie? Butchie? I don't know how you... I mean, he looks like a Butchie. Yeah, I mean, he's like a cow cat. And then the other one's like super weird. Like, look at the definition on his hairy legs, too. Mm-hmm. It's like short.
Yep. He's got a little...
I don't like these guys very much.
Down there.
Yeah. But yeah, they call out the Meow Band brothers to fight Zoro. And, of course, Zoro wants to take him on. I think Shiam runs at him like, oh, no, don't kill me. I'm going to scratch you. But it's clearly a trap. Like, it's just really funny how quick the change is. Like, gotcha. And then it lunges at Zoro. And I believe his whole thing was he was just trying to swipe his swords from him. Because Zoro, without his sword, 3-sword style, is super nerfed. And that's how it goes. And again, the Superman kind of thing. Not the first time this motherfucker loses his swords. Gonna be real with you. It happens quite a bit, and he gets nerfed every time. Well, basically, now that he's got his swords, Butchie and Siam both attack at once. Butchie's like a big stompy boy, and all they can do is just do like the little command, like the Dragon Ball Z block attack thing. Yeah. Usopp tries to help him out, but Zoro takes a shot so that they wouldn't attack him. As if he like helped them out, they would clearly attack them too. And
he's holding aggro.
Yeah, he's basically holding aggro. Oh, and Kuro fucking arrives and is super pissed because he's like, "What is going on? You were supposed to arrive to this island and there's be like no resistance. What is happening?" And yeah, he's incredibly angry. And I think this is where we start getting to the more, I guess, interesting. Like, the more is going on, right? Like now Kuro's there and all the stakes are there now. And yeah, and I think the cats for some reason think they could take on the freaking Captain Kuro for some reason, like idiots. They're like, "Oh, you've been gone for so long. Don't order us around." And they try to go at him, and he just, I need footage of this fucking dumbass fucking move. He gets his case of tools out. And what do you think of his pussyfoot maneuver, Bryce? His little tap dancing, and then it just like,
great.
And it just
love
like
it.
teleports. It's so dumb. Yeah, but this is cool though. The whole like Freddy Krueger thing.
Such a good shot of him.
Yeah, and with the fucking
like,
pussyfoot shit, that was so dumb. And the sound effect it makes. Oh, Nami got cut down earlier because she was trying to get Zoro's swords for him. But yeah, like these shots of Kuro are really cool, right? How like he's like trying to hug them but not like kill them, right? He's like, "Hey, I could just murder you right now." But look at his hat, look at his gloves. They're little mittens, right? They're cat mittens.
Yeah, they're great. It's part of the brand.
He's just like keeping character. And yeah, Kuro's just pissed, and he's like, "I'll give y'all 5 minutes to deal with this, or I'm gonna slaughter all of you." And of course, they of course listen and try to take out Zoro, but Zoro is got his swords back, and he's super OP. He does like his onigiri attack or whatever. Immediately wins. Bucci, who's still alive, asks Django to buff him, and he turns into like super Bucci here. He's just like this Hulk ass motherfucker. Let's see if I can get a shot of him here. Why is Zoro's neck so strong? What I know now why, but that's what I was thinking. It's like, how the fuck is his neck so strong? That sword, dude, I can barely fucking chew to eat, let alone carry what, like a 8-pound sword or something. How heavy is a katana? What's her face? Nami makes a run for Luffy to try to wake his ass up, and Django throws a chakram at her, and just as she steps on Luffy's head on accident, Luffy wakes up to pull her down, and it dodges the chakram, and it's a really funny scene where like Luffy catches it in his fucking mouth, and he just breaks it with his teeth, and he saves her. And the rest is just like them discussing with Kuro here, because he's still like, "Yo, I'm gonna kill this whole crew. Like, I'm done with y'all." But Kaya comes from the back to try to talk to him, and like he doesn't notice, right? So he's like, "Who's behind me?" And immediately slashes at them, and Usopp jumps in the way and takes the hit, which I don't think he gets slashed because they didn't really make a slash animation, but Usopp gets hurt for her. Yeah, this guy super evil with this shot here, like absolutely irredeemable. I thought there was gonna be more to it, but clearly not. Like, he does not give a shit about the years he spent with his people. And then Kaya pulls out a gat on him to shoot him.
She's strapped.
She's strapped. I don't know. What do you think she pulled out of the 4Kids version?
It's either a pop gun or a squirt gun.
Thematically, who has she been hanging out with the most? And what would she pull out?
I guess a slingshot. One of Usopp's slingshots.
She pulls out a fucking slingshot. just a little slingshot. I don't even know if she pulls on it or, because here she clearly points the gun at Claudor or Kuro. But
Yeah.
I haven't gone back to watch the episode on 4Kids. But like, what does she do with it? Does she point the slingshot at him to like threaten him? Because they're not gonna animate her like pulling the slingshot backwards. And yeah, it's just really dumb. But it's just one of those edits, right? And he basically uses the fact that they spent all this time together and he's like kind of reverse psychologying her and making her not able to shoot him. And then he just grabs the gun from her. It's like, I'm gonna kill you, girl. And that's it. And Luffy, of course, is in the back listening to all this and getting very, very angry. And this is a pretty good shot of Usopp getting up from the ground, just like super pissed, and just aiming the gun at Kuro here, and just blasting. But of course, the pussyfoot maneuver, do, and dodges the bullet. But again, another cool shot here. A lot of him threatening with the blades, but not really doing much. He always like tries to grasp around people, like not even Freddy Krueger, but I don't know. I think I remember seeing some of this back when I was a kid. Like I remember Captain Kuro from something, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like you watched this whole arc as a kid, right? And you just thought it was the coolest shit.
Yeah, dude. I thought he was such a I know he's a bastard and stuff, but I thought he was like such a badass villain.
Yeah, he thought he looked. I mean, yeah, I would think that too. If I was like, look how cool he is in his black suit and claws. Because I always thought like claw weapons were super cool. Were you about to say something?
No.
Okay. But yeah, this whole thing happens, and Luffy's just and just from the fucking super far back, just Luffy just sends a fucking flying ass punch, and knocks his this shot of like Kuro's face just twisting in pain.
He's got a little twist on it.
Yeah, it's really good. Just gets knocked the fuck in. Next episode is Beat Kuro, Usopp's man's tearful resolve. This episode, I don't really have much notes on this episode. Let's see here. Yeah, this episode, I don't really have many notes on this episode itself. It's just like opens up with Luffy punching the shit out of Kuro, right? And them just having this really good stare down. Like, let me see if I can get the whole clip. And like Luffy just sitting there, cracking his knuckles one by one. Oh, dude, it's so good. And then Kuro's real pissed.
Actually punched me.
Yeah, this motherfucker actually touched me. And then Nami's still on her shit and is gonna go rob them. But yeah, no one could believe what just happened. Everyone's freaking out. Then these little kids just start bashing Kuro while he's on the ground. They just start beating the shit out of him, dude. And yeah, it's just everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's gonna fucking murder these kids!" Like, holy crap! But instead, he just gets up and kicks the shit out of Usopp because that would be way too dark if he actually just killed the kids. Even for Japan. But yeah, everyone they explain that he's ate the devil fruit and. Yeah, and he explains the whole plan. He tells Django to chase the girl, and Zoro's dealing with giant Super Bucci. And Usopp is on the ground because Usopp's been fucked up at this point by so many things. But he just like asks his little pirate buddies to take Kaio away and run, and like do whatever they can to protect them. And Django, he sends like his most incompetent motherfucker to go chase these guys down because Kuro hasn't really done much at this point. I'm sorry, Django hasn't done much at this point, other than like hypnotize people. But whatever.
Yeah.
Look at this guy right here. Look at that. Like, is that a cat pose? Is that
Yeah,
like?
dude. Have you ever seen a cat do that before?
No,
I
I
have.
haven't, dude. Hold, is
You
that
don't
one?
watch enough cat videos.
Dude, what the fuck is that?
Hey, I'm gonna pause just a second, and I wonder. I can't remember, but I wanna point out, and maybe Kuro's not a devil fruit user, is he?
Yeah,
I
so
don't.
that's one thing, right?
He's just guy with cat claws.
He's just a fucking dude. He's not a devil fruit user at all. None of these, like Luffy is the only one for these two arcs
Mhm.
here. Still, like the only devil fruit user, other
He's
than
just
Buggy
just a
in the first arc.
menace.
Yeah, he's just like
Yeah.
has this technique, just like Zoro. Like I don't know what the power levels are going to be later in the show, or like
Mhm.
their bankais, or like whatever
Right.
technique, blah 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 blah. Right?
Well, of course, devil fruit users have like a
Uh,
step ahead of just plain
yeah,
old person, right?
yeah,
But
I know that. But like just regular ass people, how strong they can get, right? Because
yeah.
the dude later is just like insanely strong as well. Like this guy's like
Also,
more assassin type.
yeah, does Crow have a big old poop on his shirt?
The
That golden, that
little
golden.
like
He's got the golden turd.
it's like a pear, right, or something.
It might be.
I think
From
it's
the
supposed to be a pear.
looks like a poo.
I mean, it does look like a little golden turd, but yeah, it's just he has no doubt for pride. It's just like all. I mean, what it doesn't make sense, right? Him like tapping his feet makes him disappear or some shit. His little tap dance, but just like Zoro here, it's like just all skill, and he just actually moves that fast, right? Just straight up. Oh, one thing I want to say: Zoro gets slashed across the chest a lot. Like he does it to people, but it happens to Zoro quite a bit, and I don't know if that's a recurring thing or what. But
There's a
lot of
reason.
enemies.
There's a reason. He'll say it eventually.
I think okay. I think I know what the line you're referencing is. But yeah, they slashed that motherfucker a bunch. Yeah, and it's just Kuro talking shit to Usopp, and like Luffy kind of just sit there listening. Luffy gets pissed that all the pirates are laughing at Usopp and throws a fucking giant boulder at them. And he has Zoro take Usopp to go chase Kaya and them to make sure she's okay. And Luffy is finally like, "Yo, I'll take your ass on. Let's go." And some pretty good like actual fight scenes, like him like spinning around and shit, and like whenever the punch comes back, he actually uses the momentum like do spins and stuff. Right here. Why wouldn't Kuro just cut his arm at this point? What are you doing?
Showboating, dude.
He is, dude. He's playing with his food like a cat, maybe.
Yep.
Like a kitty cat. Yeah, it's and he just like runs across Luffy's arm. But yeah, at many points he probably because Luffy's weak point is the fact that he stretches so far, so it's just a giant target. But yeah, and then it goes to the flashback on how all this happened. Again, he used this a crewmate to like take his place after slaughtering like a whole ship of guards. One of the guards on that ship was actually Grimjow. I don't know if you remember this. It's actually Grimjow when he was super young before he got his jaw. And not Grimjow, but whatever the fuck his name was.
Morgan.
Yeah, Captain Morgan. It was before everything happened, right? So this guy turns in Kuro, and that's how he gets his status, and that's how all that's connected. Kuro, man of 1,000 plans. Yeah, and he's just like, I can't allow this plan for 3 years to fail. And yeah, and then he's just fighting Luffy, and Luffy does a smart thing and gets a fucking rock and blocks his attack. Let's see. And just boom, he gets a rock, blocks his attack. And then he's just like, nah, motherfucker. And I guess he's surprised how strong he is. And Luffy just says like, "Oh, I've been working out" or some shit, or
Right.
I've toughened myself up to be a pirate. Which I don't know if like maybe they go back later, like who trained Luffy, or there's clearly a gap, right, of him
Mhm.
getting the fruit.
Or him taking off from his village and
Yeah,
being in that barrel that Kobe
yeah.
found.
There's clearly something like up to that barrel, right? Because like, how did he understand his power? How did he figure out how he was so strong? All that stuff. So that'd be interesting to see one day. But clearly, Luffy's like an unknown entity in a lot of ways. But yeah, he just grabs that rock and just snaps those fucking claws. Like, no shit, dude. Of course. And just smashes Kuro on the ground with the rock. Pretty good. To be continued. Next episode. Episode 16, Protect Kaya. The Usopp Pirates Great Efforts. This, again, is like not much of a... It's kind of like one of those... Not much interesting is happening in this episode, right? It's kind of like, oh, we're watching Luffy fight, and now it kind of just pauses and goes off to where the kids fucking around, and they're
Right.
just trying to protect her through the village, hiding from Django, who's super lame and like, oh, it's supposed to be muted. He's super lame, and yeah, there's just not much going on here, right? It's just, and I think people keep calling him Captain Kuro, and he's like gets real mad. They're like, I am not Kuro anymore. I was planning to slaughter all my crewmates after they helped me. And I think he like calls himself Clawdor now. Like he actually thinks of himself as Clawdor, but he's still an asshole, I guess. And Luffy's like, "Fuck you! You're not a true pirate. You like threw away your pirate name." And Luffy's basically caught on to his little prancing move, and is able to like catch him and grab him and stuff, so that like Luffy is winning, basically. And this leads to his. I think you said you really like this move.
This is the reason why I like to
Yeah,
Kuro
like
so
all,
much.
all his like crewmates are freaking out, like screaming, begging, "Please don't do it! Please don't use that move! Yeah, it's too much." And like Luffy's like, "What's going on?" He's just like shaking left and right and shit. And this is like the most inaccurate shit in the world. Like, so basically, his ability is that he is moving so fast that he cannot control what he is attacking. So he's just attacking wildly and
Blindly.
indiscriminately, yeah, and has no control over it. But the thing is, it's just so fast. So eventually, we get caught up in it. But he completely misses Luffy at the start. He like goes 100 yards the other direction. It's like, holy shit, how inaccurate is it?
Okay.
Like you use an AoE attack, right? You think it's gonna hit a certain range. This motherfucker completely misses Luffy and doesn't attack him until he like kills most of his crew or attacks most of his crew. It's a really good scene of like people just standing there and then just exploding in blood because like he's just like attacking randomly. It's pretty good. And yeah, Nami's
Him like scratching the walls. You can see like where he's slashing the sides of the rocks and shit.
yeah. There's like purple smoke happening every time, right? Like Luffy would be standing here. I think he gets almost hit. Or like, yeah, damn, like, yeah, a shot here. All these dudes just exploding in blood from Kuro's attacks, and again, completely missing the guy who's actually trying to attack. Here it showed a shot of the hat, so I was like, oh, he's gonna hit the hat, and Luffy's gonna get mad, but no, not really. Luffy's just mad that like, yeah, Luffy's just mad that he's doing that to his own crewmates, and like it just grabs him like he cuts up Kuro a couple times, and I guess maybe Luffy uses the direction he got slashed from because he kind of like sits there and takes it, and then it just grabs him like mid out back attack or whatever, and yeah, like stops him and is able to not punch him down once, and Kuro's like, "Dude, you're a pirate. What are you talking about? Like pirates are like bad people and shit, right? Like he's having that conversation with them. Like his image of pirates is like really fucked up. And then he does the ability one more time, but then we cut back to Django and them, and it's just hijinks with the kids. It's not really interesting. The only interesting part is that Kaya sneaks behind Django and grabs the chakram and threatens to kill herself if he doesn't leave the kids alone, right? Like, hey, your whole plan is that you'll get my inheritance, but I have to write a note for that, right? I have to like sign it away. So if I kill myself, like everything's fucked for y'all at this point. Do you remember this scene at all in the 4Kids version? At all?
No, dude, I don't remember at all.
So
Such a blur.
Yeah, so it looks very similar, but in the 4Kids version, she steals the chakram from him, and then the guy is like, "No, the chakram's power will overpower you. Don't let go of it." And she acts like the chakram is trying to kill her. She's like the chakram is like right here.
Yeah.
The chakram is trying to overpower her and slit her throat. So they like remove the notion of suicide, right? Right here, she's holding and being like, "I'll kill myself. Let the kids go." But the 4Kids version, it's like, no, the power of the chakram is too much for you.
I can definitely see that now.
It's so fucking funny, dude. This is the worst edit of it. It's just like it's like what all of a sudden the chakram's sentient and it has like a weird power. Okay, no, it's just a regular ass chakram, dude. That's all it is. Yeah, and that's about it. I think she starts writing the note. There's one edit here where they like edit out his thumb to make it look like he grabs her by the shoulder, but she's actually grabbing him by the neck, and that's about it. I think Kuro goes for like one last slash attack, and I think the next episode is the resolution to all this. There's an anger explosion, Kuro versus Luffy, and how it ends. Let's mute this here. And like, oh hey, like this is the end of the fight, right? It's funny how they so I've noticed like the pacing stuff. So right now the recaps are still only a minute or two, right? They're pretty fast so far. But it's really funny how like, oh, it's time to end the big bad, or like end the fight, right? It's literally a panel or two before the end. So they cut it to next episode. Cuz like Kuro and Luffy here fight for like 3 minutes and it's over. And the rest of the episode is like a different episode. But you can definitely tell like someone was like, "Hey, put that in next episode," so they watch again, right? Yeah, Kuro does his little move. He's just like teleporting around. That's all it is. And Luffy just grabs it. Like there's no real sense of like how Luffy's doing this at all or anything. He's like he just swings his arms around, tries to reach for him, I guess. And he's eventually able to grab him, and then like repels himself towards them to what would you call that position? Like a bear hug? If you grab
reverse piggyback ride.
Reverse piggyback ride?
Yeah.
So he gives him a reverse piggyback ride. He's mounted on top of this man. And he's like, "Hey, you can't run around if I'm held onto you like this." Which is true, but like, why wouldn't Kuro just slash this motherfucker? What's going on? He's just like holding his arm in a T pose, like, "Oh, I'm so shocked," but doesn't attack Luffy at all. You have knives for hands, man. I'm sure the right hand would do something as well. Maybe he's locking up his arms how he's grabbing them, because it's like you see how his arms are like wrapping around. Yeah. Maybe that like locks up his arms, so I can't actually move them.
That's a bit of a stretch, but yeah.
I can see what you're doing. I imagine, right? Because this position makes no sense, which does happen quite a bit in the show. Like some attacks don't make sense, but it's like whatever. The kids like attack Django and shove a shovel up his ass. and then let's see if we can get this clip. So, "Oh no, you don't." These kids just fucking rev up his ass. and then I think Sanji and Kuro arrive. The pirates, realizing that oh, if Captain Kuro wins, Kuro's gonna kill us all. They start cheering on for Luffy to like beat Captain Kuro, and then it's like it cuts back between Usopp and the end of the fight, where like
Yeah.
Usopp saves Kaya.
They're trying to
Yeah.
synchronize the moments.
Yeah, right here, this shot right here, Usopp
Okay.
killed this man. Unless he shows up later, but from everything it looks like, Usopp murdered this guy. He shot him with a bomb in the face, and then they just move on. His body's on the ground, and they just move on later. He's probably alive, I imagine, but it does sure look like Usopp killed this guy. And Luffy does like a crazy headbutt that knocks out Kuro, and that's how they win. And everyone's like, "Who are you?" And I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Remember my name? And it's really cool. And he throws Kuro's body at them, and is like, "Take him and get the hell out of here." And that's pretty much the end of that. Like they grab him and run. I imagine Kuro will be back in some way in the future. I don't think they would not reuse a character like that at some point. Maybe they bump into each other again at some point. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I feel like I've seen shots of Kuro in another place before. Just like how Buggy, I feel like I've seen shots of him just randomly. Now my YouTube recommendations are like filled with One Piece shit. I'm trying like not to look at it, but like you definitely catch on to shit. But nothing with Kuro or nothing big or anything like that. But I imagine he will be back in some way because this is an anime and a shonen. And yeah. Yeah, and then Nami kind of walks up to Luffy and he's like, "Hey, you alright?" And Luffy passes out because he's so fucking tired. And they have a discussion about pirates. Luffy says he hated them for how he like treated people and all that shit. But she's like, like pirates are mostly all like that, right? You're the exception. And then he just ignores thinking about it. It's like, "I'm hungry." And then that's it. Nami gets pissed that like he pushes off the conversation. And yeah, Kaya is saved, and the village never even saw what happened. They have no idea. They're still waiting for Usopp to call a fake attack, but yeah, nothing happened. Really touching scene of Usopp talking to the kids one last time because he's decided to like move on with his life, and like actually become a pirate. Even though like no one's invited him anywhere yet, like Luffy didn't invite him to the ship or anything, but I think his plan just to do it on his own. And yeah, it's a nice little scene of like him talking to the kids and being like, "Hey, we're disbanded. Chase your dreams." And little flashbacks with them, because like the kids were like part of his character this whole time in the arc, which like the kids were fine. They had like some good moments, but yeah, like mostly ignorable. But I really like this shot here of like him just crying, and Usopp pirates are disbanded, and it's just the animation's really good, right? Like I said, they could just do whatever they want with people's faces to express emotion, and I enjoy it. I actually really like it. I think JoJo's does some really similar stuff, like the over expressiveness of people. Kaya comes in and is like, "Yo, I'm giving you a pirate ship as a reward for everything you did. It's themed after her butler. Don't know who her butler is, but they're gonna theme a ship after him." And Usopp comes to say goodbye to everyone. And then Luffy's like, "Where are you going? Get on the ship. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." And it ends like, "Can I be captain?" And Luffy's like, "Fuck no." And then they get on the ship. He's like, "Can I be captain?" He's like, "I'm captain." And yeah, and then it ends with Kaya saying like, "Hey, I didn't actually want Usopp to leave, but she was happy to see him like go out there." The butler like explains the story of why Usopp says pirates are here every time. And it's because he was waiting on his fucking deadbeat dad to come back, and was always like hoping his dad would come back for his mom, who has this gigantic fucking nose, who passed away, and that's why he like every time kept doing it. But for some reason, I don't know, as an adult he still kept doing it, I guess he just didn't realize he was doing it for his mom. Maybe they were trying to get at. Not really sure, but yeah, he joins the crew, and the kids uh, honor his like legacy and like keep doing it as well. So there's still a bunch of dipshits in the world filled with tons of pirates making false pirate calls.
They didn't learn nothing.
They didn't learn nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I could just like discuss the arc in itself. Like, it was definitely I was more invested for sure on like what was happening because like the Kuro plot and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the first like actual arc in the series, I guess, right? It felt like, okay, hey, we're building up to something, and it's around this character, and it's focusing on Usopp, right? Which is not a character I've clearly shown I didn't like in any way or like had thoughts of liking. But yeah, I mean, it was a good start to him, right? Overall, like, oh, I get him now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just like I'm not blown away by it by any means or anything like that, but I found myself like entertained all the way through. Uh, kind of wish like Kuro did more. He kind of just got his ass beat by Luffy and like threatened a bunch of people. But I do like the idea of like him being this trusted person in town and like being like a fucking complete scumbag, right? Like, hey, it was playing the long con, but they like really don't do anything with that, right? It's just like Usopp and Kaya who have to deal with that, not the town or anything. Um, and it's just like odd, right? Maybe it'll go back to Kuro at some point and like build on them more at some point, because it did seem like when he slashed at Kaya, whenever she surprised her, he slashed at her, and he was like, "Oh shit, did I cut her?" Like he made that face, and then realized, okay, I didn't kill her. But maybe it's because of the money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's actually that duality there that they maybe visit later or something, or Kuro's just an asshole the whole time, and 5 years did nothing to him, and because he didn't plan the parents' death either or anything like that, so that shit kind of just happened. What I thought was actually happening was he got stranded there, and then the dad took him in. The parents died, and maybe like one of his old pirates buddy found him and be like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And then he played it off as that. He's like, "Hey, I have this plan to take over all this shit, and then we're gonna do it." Right, and that's kind of thought it was gonna happen, but clearly not. He was very fucking evil, and yeah, I mean, it's an old show, right, and it's old series, so it's probably something like more modern anime would do or modern shows, because you got to be more interesting for villains nowadays, because it's been done before, clearly, like something like this. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. How did you feel about the whole arc, or do you like remember much about it?
I thought the four kids things that you had mentioned, like, man, I do not remember them at all. I kind of
Mm.
vaguely remember the like,
Mhm.
oh no, it's getting closer to my neck, the chakram, it's power, it's too much.
Yeah.
I kind of vaguely remember it. I really
That's-
like the arc. I still I didn't care much for Usopp either. I mean, he's definitely not my favorite character. I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. Kuro carried that arc for me.
yeah. Still don't know about the dad stuff and all that, right? And like the reasoning behind him calling Wolf and all that, like really doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, it was good. The next episode, episode 18, is like some weird, like, I don't know if you remember this episode, but they end up on an island, and there's like some dude trapped in a treasure chest. He's like some green-haired man, and that's the episode. They find this guy who's stranded on an island, and it's a treasure island, but there's a bunch of treasure chests with nothing in it. Like,
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I remember the dude. I remember him,
yeah, like, I
but
don't know
I
if
don't
it comes
remember
back
what
later
happened.
or what. But yeah, he basically like, falls in the treasure chest and gets stuck in it. It's been in there for like 20 years or some shit. And is like crewmate, like he's just been stranded on this island, and just being disgusting inside this treasure chest. And he has animal friends, and that's the episode. There's not much done here. This next episode, though, I really want to talk about. I think after the Usopp stuff, I was like a little bored. Like I was like, oh, the Usopp's arc's over. This episode 18 kind of sucks. Um, but then we get to this episode with Zoro. You have to remember this episode. I wrote banger next to the fucking episode title.
Banger.
The three sword style pass. The
Oh,
three sword
his,
styles past Zoro and Kunai's vow.
Yes.
Yeah. He's just like this country bumpkin who's just like, I want to go beat up the strongest person at this dojo. Look at fucking little Zoro here. He's just got the twig and shit.
That's where it started. He's strengthening his jaw. Got to start off there.
But yeah, I think this episode's really, really good. I'm trying to pull up my notes on it real quick. Oh, yeah, he comes into the village, right? Like challenges. It's like, hey, if I beat you, you give me your dojo. If I lose, I'll become your student. The owner, or what would you call the leader of a dojo? The teacher?
Sensei?
Sensei? The sensei like asks his daughter to fight who's like his best student, right? And she kicks Zoro's shit in. And yeah, it's really funny. Like, all right, use as many weapons as you want. Yeah. This motherfucker brings out 12 sword style when he's a kid. Look at him. Yeah. The jaw, dude. And he's like constantly dropping swords and shit before they even fight. It's a really good scene. There goes one. Yep. There goes another. Yeah, she clearly beats his shit in. And I don't think he has any real sword training, but I guess he picks up two swords and like takes a stance that's like natural. And he's like, "Ooh, yeah, oh, two sword style." Oh,
he's just coming in it's like some little thuggish kid.
Yeah, he's like wanting to beat someone up.
Yeah. He has no style. He has no like any kind of prior education. He just was picking up a sword and it's like, I could do this.
Yeah, I'll take your dojo. And yeah, Kai was her name Kaya? I think it's Kaya.
Kaya was the last girl. It was
Kunai. Kuina? Kuina. Queen. I think it's Kayuna. I don't know. We call him Kirkana for now, I guess. But yeah,
just as a placeholder.
Yeah. He must say her name. Oh, this is him training his jaw. I know why his neck is so strong. He's fucking holding a boulder, a giant ass boulder with his jaw. And for some reason, he's training his jaw. I guess he always had the plan of like, I'm going to hold three swords.
I mean, he's no Killer Bee, but I guess it's okay. That's the fight I want to see. Killer Bee versus Zoro.
Zoro. Does he have the jaw strength of Zoro? Kaina beats him up. And it's like, you're weak. And you're too weak for two sword style. And I think they said they've had 2,000 matches and he's never beaten her. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where the dad is like, yo, Zoro's really improving, huh? And the sensei is like, yeah, he is. I can't give the dojo to Kuina because she's a girl, and then she'll eventually get outperformed by the men at some point because just genetics and all that shit, right? And that's their thinking, that it's much tougher for a girl to be the best than a guy. Mm-hmm. And I think she's like out in the middle of nowhere crying, and Zoro shows up with some fucking real ass swords to be like, let's fight for realsies, like actual swords. He challenges her, she accepts, she goes home and grabs her sword. I'm sure those dead eyes, I'm sure nothing bad's gonna happen. And yeah, they fight, and Zoro's not be able to keep up because real swords are fucking super heavy because they're real ass swords. So he's super tired, and she's able to win again. And he's just super upset by it. Like, I can't keep up with her, but she's more angry that it's like, hey, like, eventually my peak will come, and like no one will take me seriously and all that shit. And Zoro's like, nah, fuck that shit. you become stronger, and we're gonna be the two strongest in the world, and we'll fight each other for the title. And it's basically like his vow to her, right? And
Right.
their vow to each other, like keep them each other going, no matter what. And Zoro, like, she takes it super seriously. She gets a lot stronger and is like fighting the adults and shit. They're like, whoa, like, she's reignited. And so is Zoro, who's like crazy training and shit. Look at that, the jaw fucking. Yeah, what would you? A dumbbell in your jaw? I'm gonna try that, dude.
Yeah.
I would fucking hurt myself. Oh my god. It's like with a 1-pounder. Just fuck that. And it's like these kids are being real creepy, and it's like, why are they? What the fuck do they want? They're just Hyena's dead, and it's just like, what?
Oh
Dude?
no!
I
What a
was
terrible
watching
time to laugh on.
that face, yeah. But I
Yeah, the
was like,
face is what I'm laughing about.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just saw her fighting the scene before, and it's just like this. I mean, it's a time lapse, right? Like a bunch of time has passed, and apparently she flipped down the storehouse steps and died. She was looking for a sharpening stone for her beloved sword. So she tripped. A trained samurai fell down the stairs and died. I'm calling bullshit. I don't know if this ever comes back in some way in Zoro's arc or what, or if we actually find out what happened. But I'm calling bullshit. There's no way it just ends that way, and this is Zoro's arc, right?
You're calling foul play?
I'm calling definitely foul play. So you want to know the 4Kids version of this?
Go ahead.
She, the explanation is, she beat someone in a tournament, and the boy got so after the tournament, the boy got so mad that he lost to a girl that he went and kicked her shit in, basically like crippling her from being able to like fight ever again. So basically, like she gets jumped after a fight or something like that from a bunch of people who hate
but she's not
being
dead.
lost to him. But she's not dead. Mm-hmm. So that also tells me there's foul play going on, because that translation, one, that completely changes the plot.
It does.
Two,
like if she's just handicapped, they just completely write her off. Then
like here, you don't even see her fucking body in any way, and like or anything. And I know you can't answer me in any way. I could be completely off base. But I'm calling foul play. There's no way this is how Zoro's arcs can go. Those two are gonna fight each other at some point. I hope, at least. But yeah, she just dies suddenly, and Zoro throws himself into his training like never before, and he becomes the strongest in the dojo. Right, training his jaw some more. I really like the sound effects of this episode because it's like dead silent, and it's just him growling and Bamboo hitting like the training posts, and that's all it is for like 5-6 minutes straight after she dies. It's just him fucking and just swinging his blades. It's a really neat touch. Like, I think this episode's incredible. And yeah, he's facing the father at some point, and he asks, "Can I have that sword? Because I'll carry it with me to the top." And whenever Zoro breaks his swords, he breaks everything but the white one. So it makes a lot of sense. It's his treasure, basically. And yeah, Zoro grows up and sets off with Luffy and them. Luffy and are just popping shots at a random rock island, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen there. And then someone attacks their ship randomly and knocks him out. And the foul play shit, or me thinking of it, is like I need to know what fucking happens. I need to see Zoro's actual story arc at some point, or like, because there's more to it here later in a bit as well. But yeah, basically, episode 20. The dudes attacking the ship are some of Zoro's like bounty hunter friends. They were hiding on the island that Luffy and
Usopp were popping shots at.
yeah, and their face when they realize it's fucking hilarious. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this part here. Their reactions to like, oh, what did we do? What did we do? My bad. And they're just like, I'm sorry. Nami comes down as like, Get him some fucking lemon juice or something. Because do you know what like scurvy actually is? Is it just like not having nutrients and like not eating right or some shit? Not having plant based nutrients.
Like, what does it do?
Yeah. Like what is it
Or
actually?
a disease caused by a deficiency of vitamin C, characterized by swollen, bleeding gums and the opening of previously healed wounds, which particularly affects poor, nourished sailors. Okay.
They do
Yeah,
say his wounds open up again.
it fucks up with your immune system, I guess, or your ability
Uh,
to heal
and
your
and
wounds.
it's just from not eating fruits and vegetables.
It's vitamin C, so
Vitamin
like
C mainly.
lemons, limes.
Mm. So you gotta. So this is what leads to them being like, hey, we need to cook because we need to like eat balanced food, and not just meat all the time, or else we're gonna get fucking scurvy out here and die. Which leads them to the restaurant, a Baratie restaurant. There's some douchebag Navy guy who's like also going to the restaurant, and he shoots a bomb, or he shoots a cannon at Luffy because they're pirates, and they're like, hey, we'll capture him while I go eat with this chick. Luffy's a dumbass and like catches the ball with his rubberness, but flings it at the restaurant, destroying the roof. Because of course he would do that. And that's pretty much the beginning of the first episode of this arc with Sanji. The arc really ends with Sanji showing up and kind of acting as a butler for the restaurant, and him just like showing up, this really douchey Navy man who's just trying to impress this girl. And he's like supposed to pay off the waiters and stuff to make him look smart and shit. Like Sanji's not having that shit, and yeah, he shows them up. The owner of the restaurant is making Luffy work there for a year for the damages. And yeah, that's really the end of the episode. Sanji just shows up for the first time, kicks his dude shit in for making fun of the cooks and trying to act like there was bugs in the food and stuff like that. So, Sanji, this is clearly one thing you need to edit out, right?
His libido.
No. What does Sanji right now? This shot. What does Sanji have?
His cigarette.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
But like,
4Kids was a lollipop.
yeah,
Every scene they edited in a fucking lollipop for him. Every single scene to get rid of the
I'd
cigarette.
yeah.
And that's what I thought too, because when I saw him with the cigarette, I thought something feels off. Because this guy's way cooler than I remember him being. And it's because he used to suck on a lollipop every shot I saw of him.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a cigarette. And it's like, oh, that's much cooler. Yeah, and it was really funny when I was watching that video of like how they shove the lollipop in so many scenes, and they cut out a bunch of scenes, of course, of him trying to light a cigarette. But yeah, it's just really funny. And now it's like iconic for Sanji to have a lollipop for a lot of people. What's supposed to be a cigarette? Is Sanji like a favorite, like a fan favorite? I imagine.
Yeah, dude. He's up there with Zoro.
Yeah, I feel like I saw more Sanji than Zoro, like just from being off on the side, but definitely, yeah, like people's favorite, right? Let's see here.
He is a good character.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this arc too, and his whole motivations and stuff. Our next episode 21. Oh, welcome customer. Hey, they beat up the cook, and or not, they beat up the cook. They beat up the Navy guy who's been like kind of an asshole this whole time, and he's trying to back out, but apparently someone from Don Krieg's crew escaped their ship. I guess he was like locked up at the bottom or something while they were eating, and he comes out of the ship and just blasts this poor fucking Marine in the back of the head. Just kills him outright and comes in and's like, yo, feed me. In the 4Kids version, they animate like a really bad foot and kick him, and he like kicks him or some shit. It's really bad. But of course, everything's edited out in terms of blood. But a really funny scene here is as soon as like, but do you have money though? And he's like, no, and then just boom, smashes him immediately as soon as he says, but do you have money though? And just smashes that motherfucker. Is a dude who's been out in sea, starving, and wanted some food, right? But he's a pirate and being a dick about it. So they kick him out. Sanji is not someone who can really watch someone starve, so he cooks a meal for this guy, and it kind of leads to the whole events of this whole thing, right? Is this guy's part of Don Krieg's crew, and these chefs kind of talk about it for a bit, like who Don Krieg is. He's supposed to be the strongest pirate in the East Blue, and they fed one of his dudes who they treated badly. At the end of the episode, they let Geen go, which is that dude's name, and he goes, go tell his boss, basically. Really funny scene here. Luffy is trying to help cook the dishes and all that shit, but he sees his friends just out eating and having fun, and he's super pissed about it. He's like, why are you guys eating? Luffy throws a booger in Zoro's drink. You can see Usopp's dumbass face. and yeah, they're just laughing their asses off, and you can see the little booger. Then Zoro's about to take a drink, and then he just fucking grabs that shit and shoves it down Luffy's mouth. The animation's super good, and of course they're being those people of laughing, and they're like slapping the table and shit, and just being those people at a restaurant, right?
This
Just
is
making
a fancy
scene.
place, dude.
Yeah, it's fancy. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
He's a
it's
George
fancy,
Washington
man.
motherfucker. Sanji's like, yo, what's going on? What the hell? But of course, he sees Nami, and immediately he's like, oh, this is who Sanji is. He's a womanizer. Got it. So he's a good cook. Like what lady wouldn't like him, honestly? Good cook. Easy on the eyes. But yeah, he's just trying to talk up Nami. And Geen lands at Don Krieg's ship and tells him what happened. And he's going to take him back there. And yeah, it opens up with Sanji talking up Nami and giving her like a bunch of like free food and shit. She's like, "Oh, this soup is super expensive. I really find it. It's free. It's free. Don't worry." Then he turns to Sanji and them and is like, "But not for you guys." And they're like, "What the fuck?" Oh yeah, and I really like this scene. Like, you want to fight? Well, I won't go easy on you. Beat him up, Zoro. And Usopp's face is pretty good. Yeah, people see the large galleon that is Lord Krieg's ship, and it is on the way to the restaurant. It opens up with Geen and the boss, coming in the ship begging over for food, right? And of course, who's gonna feed him but Sanji, even though no one wants to. Even though this man in my notes is known for, let's see. This man is known to be a double crosser, backstabber, and play dirty. And Sanji feeds his ass. Double crosser, backstabber, and play dirty. And this guy eats food, and this is where they explain it. This guy eats food, and immediately doesn't miss a beat and just knocks the shit out of Sanji. Just immediately as soon as he got food. And Gain, the other pirate, is like, yo, I didn't really want any of this to happen. But I guess this is happening now. And Lord Krieg wants 100 meals for all the dudes on the ship. Probably could have asked a lot nicer. And yeah, it's just...
He's a pirate.
He's being a fucking pirate. And doing pirate ass things. And fucking Sanji's about to go feed their asses again. Because he just doesn't like people starving. And that Patty here has to fucking knock his ass out. And pulls out a rocket launcher and blasts Don Krieg. Which doesn't really work. And Don Krieg is basically like Iron Man. And just has a bunch of guns. And just shoots. And he has his diamond fist, which he never uses ever against Luffy or anyone. He just shows it in this one scene. It's like my unbreakable diamond fist, and you never see it again. And that's that episode there. Do you remember much about like Don Krieg and all that, or?
Yeah, I
Um,
remember Dunkirk. The villains, they do stand out a lot more
mm-hmm.
to me. They've held an impression on me. I really didn't like Don Krieg. I think he's kind of lame, but he
Yeah,
is a man of many weapons, and
yeah, he's like
that
Batman, right? Where he just has a bunch of bullshit. Um, and yeah,
yeah, and
he's
that never really had impressed me, just because you have a whole lot of stuff.
it's not like Kuro with his like sick ass claws, right?
Yeah, that
He,
he's got a
yeah,
technique, and his
mm-hmm.
weapon, and he's gotten so good with his weapon. This guy's just like kind of like a one man army.
Yeah. Uh, an episode that he realized, Dunkirk realizes Zeph is this old pirate from the Grand Line, who's now retired, and basically he's like, hey, he should have a logbook of everything that happened over there. I want more info from the Grand Line, because apparently, I like now I'm starting to see what when people talk about the Grand Line, what you mean. Like it's like a zone, like a level zone.
Yeah.
Like let's see here. See, yeah, one dude on a small boat took out like all his ships basically.
Mhm.
Craig defeated the Grand Line and his army of ships massacred in 7 days. Which it like now I'm starting to see like after this I think it might be next episode when this character shows up, you realize like
My
oh Grand Line,
my new favorite character.
your new favorite character. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
at
really
this
fucking
point, when I
cool.
watch the show, it was my new favorite character. It happens every time,
No,
every arc.
big.
That's my favorite now.
He's the coolest now. Krieg was given a sack of food to go feed his men, and he fucks off. The bounty hunter guys are on the ship, but they notice that Nami's acting a little weird. She keeps staring at this wanted poster, and then it kind of moves on from that scene. And they're kind of like pissed at Sanji feeding the guy, and they're kind of discussing like what happened. Then they finally get out of it again, like, hey, they went to the Grand Line. They were destroyed in 7 days by like a single man. 50 fleet ship destroyed by a single man who had hawk-looking eyes. Which did Zoro ever mention before this point that he's looking for Hawkeye? I couldn't remember.
No,
He was just like, hey, that's my
he
goal.
just claimed he's just like I'm gonna be the world's best swordsman.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all he said. He never mentioned it or anything.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
like
even know if he knew who he was. I can't remember.
well, yeah, it's in this episode when they describe him. He's like, "That's the guy I'm looking for. That's who I need to beat." Um, which is Hawkeye, and like Zoro's realizing this, like, "Holy shit, you met him!" And yeah, Zoro's heard legends and stuff. I'm guessing, and yeah, let's see, and yeah, I mean, they basically discussed like what the Grand Line is, and yeah, like it is as you described. Like I'm getting a better picture now. It is literally the higher level zone. Like Don Krieg talks shit about like I'm the I'm the strongest in the East Blue, but that like means nothing compared to the rest
He's
of the
just
world.
he's just the biggest fish in the little pond.
Yeah, exactly. And like the fact that he has like this big complex and shit.
Mhm.
And again, later, like later episodes, they explain more of the Grand Line, which Luffy's like super excited to go there, and like Usopp's fucking terrified.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just like really. I did not get it until now, until like they finally painted a picture. Like it's literally like me going to Westfall and then going to fucking Stranglethorn Vale or some shit. It is like a level up zone. Like everyone out there's more fucking tough as shit. There's different races of people, and there's like a different economy and shit. It's interesting. It's oddly. It's like they took character power levels and put them in the world,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, this part of the world is your fucking character power level 1. This part of the world's character power level 2.
Mhm.
And yeah, and it ends with uh Krieg being like, "Yo, attack the fucking ship and take it from the cooks." but Mr. Hawkeye fucking shows up and just slashes the ship, dude. In like one or two slashes. It's a really greatly animated of this enormous ship just falling apart. It's really fucking cool. But at the same time, the two bounty hunter bros show up and tell everyone, "Oh, Nami stole our fucking ship." Big surprise. I've been expecting this since episode 1. And now I know where she's been sending the money. Weirdly enough. Because I did watch the first 2 episodes of the next arc. It's like, oh, that's what she was actually turning it into bills. She was going to the towns, turning the treasure in, and turning it into physical money. They got me. I thought I had got them, but they got me.
There you go, Adrian. Bitch in the butt.
Bit me in the butt. So
She outsmarted you.
This whole time, she was actually making money. Because I was wondering where all the treasure went and why she was amassing so much and what she was doing with it. And now I know. But yeah, she stole the ship. She's going back to, or you don't know at this point, but it's clearly
Does it
foreshadowing
say?
she's chasing. It doesn't say, but you clearly, by the way she's acting, you can clearly tell she's going to go to that Arlong guy or whatever the fuck, right?
Mm.
She's going that direction, and the bounty hunters think she's trying to go hunt him down to get the bounty, but yeah, that'll be a discussion for next time. 24 episode 24. This is the good episode as well, like one of those standout ones. It is Mihawk, right? Yeah, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I think his full name is Dracula.
Dracula, Hawkeye, Mihawk.
Dracula Hawkeye Mihawk. Yeah, it kind of shows the ship here, but
I think this is why, like, as a kid, why I didn't like Don Creek so much, is because he just got overshadowed so much.
Oh, by this
Mihawk.
fucking guy, definitely, dude.
Yeah.
I would definitely be like, yo, I want to see more of that guy. But Mihawk kind of just shows up for a bit and fucks off. But anyways,
His tiny little boat.
yeah, his tiny little
just
boat, like his green flames and his big ass cross sword. So, in the 4Kids version, it doesn't look like a cross. It's just like a big handle, and they removed the cross guard on it, right? The T part of the sword.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot smaller and way less cool. But look at him, dude. And the cross on his chest too is like just it's just this, like an eye, right? It's nothing. But yeah, Luffy's asking them to go chase Nami, but Zoro sees Hawkeye here, and he's got to go challenge him. He's just got to do this thing. Hawkeye blocks the bullets with the sword. Yeah, and he wants to know, like he needs to know. Yeah, he introduces himself as Verona Zoro to him, and they fight him. But like Mihawk's like, yo, like you are not ready for this at all. You're not even close. And he just fights him with a little knife. That's it. Just a little tiny. I think he had like a cross on his chest, and he took it off, and there's like a little hidden blade in there. And he's like, "Hey, is that I'm not gonna hunt a rabbit with my big ass sword. This is what you use on a rabbit," which is a pretty hardcore thing to say. And frog in the well. Look how big the world is. Which is them again saying like, the Grand Line is fucking enormous, and y'all ain't shit. Like y'all aren't even close to the shit. I'm one of the end game. You're not even close to this in any way, which is really cool. I'm trying to think like other characters that did that in other shows, right? Like dudes with like crazy power levels showing up for a bit and then just being gone.
Well, like I know I bring up Hunter x Hunter a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I think I've mentioned this before that they don't do it in the new remastered animation for Hunter x Hunter, but Kite shows up at the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
And he is strong, dude. Like he's extremely strong. He introduces himself to Gon and then talks to him, and then he's on his way again. You don't see him again for a long time, but he's kind of like that dude. He's what's he say? He's kind of like setting the bar.
Yeah.
He's setting the bar as like I'm at least this strong. If you're not at least this strong, then you're not ready. What else does it?
Like Hisoka kind of does it to them, right? He's like no one is even close when he's in that place.
Yeah. The
Um,
big, especially during like the Heaven's Tower when he's just
yeah,
like blocking that entrance from him,
yeah.
where he's like, y'all, if y'all
Yeah,
can't get past me, I was not ready, dude.
yeah. When they finally get to like the top floor, I think, right?
Hmm.
The top 100. Yeah, his
Hmm.
his sheer presence alone was like making them want to pass out and shit. Yeah, but yeah, it's that like Mega Man moment or whatever, or
Yeah.
like in Mega Man, like you meet Zero, who's like
Yeah.
crazy cooler than you,
They
and
do
you're
it with
like, I want to be
Gildarts
the
too. In
Gildarts.
fact,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is one of
Gildart
them as
shows
well.
up and
Yeah, it's Zoro's getting his ass kicked. He's like not even. He's fighting with the little blade, but Zoro refuses to give up. Um, and like it's just flashing back to that episode about his promise and all that, and he's like telling him like, so it's like if I walk back now, I won't be able to come back from it. I would rather die, right? Like if he were to back
Mhm,
down from Hawkeye, that would be it for him. He would never.
mhm,
So like he would rather die fighting him, which impresses Mihawk, right? And he's like,
mhm.
okay, I will fight you for real now. I will actually whip on my sword, which is like this big fucking dumb great sword. Which I mean, it's not dumb. It's actually really cool. Um, or Hawkeye beats Zoro. Then yeah, this is the line where where I think you were talking about earlier. Scars on the backs are a swordsman's shame. This is why he's always getting cut in the front. Scars on the back are a swordsman's shame. So for losing, he like gives himself up to Mihawk to be cut down from the front. Which looks like Mihawk kills Zoro, but you later realize that Mihawk just kind of scarred him up a bit. Luffy was super pissed, but he lets him know it's like that dude's fine. I want to see him again at some point, like get stronger and all that. You know, some shonen ass shit, right? This is probably the
Mhm.
most. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. Like, this is the most anime this show's gotten, right? Like, he's cutting
Right.
ships in half and shit, right? Which no other character even coming close to that before, right? And we're like 20 something episodes in. Like,
Mhm.
ooh, Kuro cut a rock, ooh, or something, right? But like
Yeah.
this dude, like you don't even see his sword swing, and whole like large galleons are getting fucking cut in half and shit.
Mhm.
And this is kind of leading more to like I've seen clips of the later show, and this is like, oh, this guy's in the later show. This is where it would go eventually, right?
Mhm.
Because like those fights are like not even remotely close to like what they are right here. Again, yeah, I guess they're like little fishies.
Mhm.
There's like Kamehameha waves and shit and other ones. And again, it's just like me passing through and just accidentally seeing shit. Even before we started this. But yeah. But yeah, really the whole point of the episode is Zoro promises now that he's lost to Mihawk, Zoro promises Luffy, he was like, hey, you need the world's greatest swordsman, right? It's like, I promise I'll never lose again. And it's a really cool episode, like him again getting more of Zoro's backstory and character. And
Mhm.
then like yeah, him making another revowing to him and being like, that was the only time I will ever lose against the greatest guy in the world. And
Mhm.
we'll see if he keeps that promise. I don't know, but he said he'll never lose again. And it ends with Krieg being like, yo, what the fuck, you tried to kill me. And he just blasts at him, but like it ain't shit. And Mihawk just escapes. Mihawk was originally going to take them out, um, because he was bored, or I think it explained later that they like use the pirates' money to like pay people off and shit to keep people out of the Grand Line or something. And he's one of those people. He's like one of the seven lords or
The
some shit.
warlord. He's
Yeah,
a warlord
warlord.
of the sea. Mhm.
Yeah, and they like crush smaller pirates to pay off the navy, or the navy pays them to do it. I can't remember, but
They
it's
work
like
for the Navy. Yeah.
yeah,
They work for the government technically.
yeah, they work for the government. So yeah, that's the reason he was out there, just crushing the shit out of Krieg, was for that most likely. Um, but he had enough fun with Zoro, and he's kind of just like fucks off and he's gone, and then that's basically it. The next episode is the Deadly Foot Technique bursts forth. Sanji versus the Invincible Pearl. This is just like kind of like a whatever episode. Pearl's not interesting in any way. He's just like this dude in the shield, like with a bunch of shields, and he gets really mad when you hit him, and he gets all fiery, and they try to burn the ship down. But it's basically the episodes of like the pirates attacking finally. The Finns go up to make like a convenient battle arena, and that's really about it. Like there's not much. Like I barely have any notes on this episode. Oh, Sanji's a good kicker because I imagine he was taught by what's his face?
Peg leg. Oh, black leg? Is that what they call him?
Redfoot or some shit?
Redfoot?
Before it was Redfoot. The Zeph, the owner?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Was
like
it Redfoot?
something Redfoot. But he has a peg leg, yes.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Because he gets blood on his feet. Yep. That's where I'm remembering.
Exactly. But yeah, it's just the episode of this fucking Pearl guy. And it just shows Sanji defending the pirates. Luffy accidentally hits Pearl, and everyone's freaking out. And Pearl just like catches on fire. I think Pearl's lame. I think this whole episode's lame. Other than like Sanji doing shit and getting to do shit. But it's like Pearl just stands there and catches fire, and then eventually he gets knocked out by some collateral damage that Luffy did, knocking away a shot from Krieg. And then that's a fucking episode. Like that's it. And not much there. We go to episode 26. I think the end of that last episode, I think it showed Gin, who had been like just not doing anything this whole time, finally stand up, and he took Zeph hostage with the gun. After like, everything Sanji did for him and all that shit, saving his life. And he's like, hey, don't fight back. Just let it go. If you do anything, I will blow Zeph's head off. And that's when Pearl kind of comes back and starts just beating the shit out of Sanji. Like, just fucking him up. There's some good shots here. And Luffy can't do anything because, again, they have... I look at the fucking poor Sanji here. They have Zeph hostage. And then it's a flashback. I think this episode, again, is a really good one. It is Sanji and Zeph's backstory, like how they met and all that. Sanji was like a little cook on a ship, and they were attacked by Redfoot. And Sanji's dream is to see the Great Blue or the All Blue, or something like that, where all the fishies are. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, Sanji's just like trying to defend himself, doesn't want to die. Bites Redfoot's foot for some reason, and Redfoot kind of takes pity on, like, you don't realize he takes pity on him until like he pauses when he says his dream, because later he explains he has a similar dream. But there's a giant wave of water comes crashing. Sanji falls overboard, and then a bigger wave comes and destroys both of their fucking ships, which I wrote here in my notes. The ocean sucks.
Yeah.
And that's about it, because shit just like, why would you attack anyone when it's storming like that? But yeah, the ocean sucks. Everyone died. Zeph here has to like cut his foot off to save Sanji and save himself, really, because he was going to drown there anyways after everything that happened. So he was going to lose his foot no matter what. But he goes down there to save Sanji. And eventually they wake up stranded on an island, and he's just like, hey, here, take this food. You sit on that side of the island, I'll sit on this side of the island. Call me if there's a ship. And he gives them a sack of food, and it looks like the pirate guy has like a bigger sack, but he's like, I'm an adult, I need more food, here's yours. And he just sends him off to the other side of the island. And just days. He plans. Sanji's smart and tries to plan for 20 days. I think I read here 26 days. Or I counted his little scratches here.
20
stranded for 26 days.
Okay. So we was there for almost a week longer than you planned.
Yeah, it was almost there a week longer than he planned. He's eating some nasty. Oh my god, dude! I hate moldy bread so much. Would you do it, Bryce? Would you do? Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
you can at least pick it off. You, like pick all the moldy bits off. I'm sure it would not be bad, and it would be less harmful to
How does
you.
mold
Maybe.
taste?
I've never tasted it, dude.
I just smelled it. Yeah, I've never actually bit into anything. Like I've
Yeah.
had sour milk and shit. Ugh,
Yeah.
ugh. But I've never bit into like straight ass mold.
Right. I mean, to avoid getting sick, you'd
Yeah,
probably like pick the mold off. I don't know if I mean, you'd probably still get sick even if there's mold on it and you pick it off. But
yeah. Look
I
at that
mean,
shit. Look at that shit.
yeah.
And some moldy ass bread. But he's eating it because that's all he has. But he fucks up and drops it in the water because he's crying. But yeah, he basically his plan is I'm gonna go see what the old man's doing. He had way more food, and his plan is to kill him. But he cuts the bag open. It's just treasure. It's just a bunch of gold. And then he finally looks him in the front and realizes that Zeph has been starving for 26 days straight, and lost his leg. And basically, Sanji realizes how much Zeph did for him, like keep him alive. And so, like tells him about the all blue and all that, and his dream about opening a restaurant if they do come out of like this alive. And that's why they both hate people who like don't like watching people starve. Dude, could you imagine like being on an island? Like how much adrenaline would you get to like yell at a ship to go get you? But you're like
Can't, dude.
dead
I
fucking
can't imagine it at
tired.
all.
But I imagine adrenaline would kick at that point, right? Like everything you have to just be like fucking hell. Like, oh my
Your last
god. Yeah, because
it
like
could
if
be
they
a last
pass
chance,
by,
dude.
yeah. Like I can't imagine being stranded and then finally seeing a ship. And imagine it just going past you, not even noticing you. But I guess like on these people are on the deck and stuff, right? And if it passes close enough, you'll see someone moving on an island like that, right? Or something. I don't know. Make fire, get the fucking fire kit out. I don't know. Not the fire kit, but make a torch. Like
Blair.
I imagine you would have a torch ready at some point. Burn the island down. But yeah, basically that's the whole episode. Is like, hey, this is why I'm doing. Like, I refuse to let go. This is our like their. There's a lot of things where they describe it as their treasure in the series, and the restaurant is theirs. And then like Luffy just gets really mad and like kicks his foot high in the air, and then comes crashing it down, almost destroying the fucking restaurant. Because his goal is to threaten everyone that he'll destroy the restaurant if they don't leave. It's a really, really good episode. Again, it's like one of those better ones. Like I imagine I would remember this one a lot more if I had watched it as a kid. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part, I remember them keeping that pretty true to the original.
Yeah,
Like
like
Zeph losing his leg and
yeah, like his withered
Sanji
ass
and them
body.
starving there for like days.
Yeah, like they drew out his withered, like his body's like all withered and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit, they showed that shit on TV. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I imagine
I
they probably.
kind of remember that. Yeah, he was gonna go and
It wasn't
try and steal from him.
It wasn't in the list of changes. Yeah. And then this next episode is about Gin, and Sanji. Gin and Sanji duke it out. Basically, Luffy's plan is to like destroy the ship, or threaten to destroy the ship if shit doesn't go their way. So he's like holding the ship hostage, basically.
Hmm.
He asks him to like kill Zeph. Krieg is just kill him already, and Sanji and Luffy start arguing, and Pearl goes off to attacking him. Then Gin just comes out with these two. What would you call these? Barbells?
They're like batons with
Batons, yeah.
with like little barbells on the end.
Yeah, like dumbbells or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like smashes through the shield, and it is revealed that Gin is actually their like vice commander, like second in command. So he's actually really up there. He's like the second strongest, right? And he attacks Pearl, saying like, "I don't want to kill this guy, but if we're gonna do this, let me be the one to do it, because he saved my life and all that." And yeah, basically the two duke it out. Like it's a really cool fight. I think Gein's weapons are kind of neat. Like they do some like spin kicks and like shit to like counter each other. When he hits him with the bells, like it fucking seems like he's knocking the shit out of Sanji. But yeah, they duke it out. Luffy tries to attack Krieg a couple times, but Krieg just has a bunch of bullshit to keep him away. He's like, "I'm not gonna fight you head on. Like I'm just gonna sit back here and blast you." And Luffy does not like that. He fucking hates it. He's like, "You bitch." Yeah, and shows Gein here with like a bloody mace. I guess you could call it a mace, right?
Yeah.
Basically, his maces. Yeah, and he looks pretty dope here with his like little spin. He just spins it.
He's like getting momentum in it.
Yeah, I think Gein's, other than his like really creepy baggy eyes, I think Gein looks cool. I just don't like his creepy fucking eyes, dude. Whenever it like doesn't show his bandana, but yeah, he just shows the stress, I guess, or I don't know. But yeah, Gein's gonna get the finishing blow, but he's like literally, you could tell like this whole time he's been trying to push this off. It's like, no, I'll do it, or let's not do this, or. But he's finally at that point where like it's gonna happen, and he just can't do it, right? And he's like, I could literally do this to anyone but him. He like saved our life after all that shit and treated us so kindly. Like he's the first person to ever treat me that kindly. Say anyone but him. And yeah, it just does a bunch of flashbacks. And Krieg is like, "What is this pushy ass shit?" And he's super mad. So he's gonna shoot a gas bomb at them because he plays fucking dirty and would rather gas everyone. Yeah, like a bunch of his crew has masks. Even Gein has one, but he is commanded by Krieg to throw it away, and he does because he like still respects Krieg for some crazy ass reason, and he's like, "Yeah, I deserve this," and he throws away his thing. Luffy is able to take some masks for some of the other pirates, and throw them at them, but at the end of the episode, he isn't able to get one for himself. But conveniently, someone throws one at him. And it is revealed that it was actually Gein who got the one he got thrown at him and threw it back at Luffy. He then grabbed the extra mask that was thrown at him and just shoved it onto the fucking Luffy's face there. He shoved that onto Sanji's face so that he would stay alive. And Gein took like the full blast of the poison and is dying. And yeah, I mean, it's just, this stuff is like a lot more in depth than like the first arc, right? Like with Gein and all that, which I found all this like super interesting, like Sanji and like their dilemma and all that, right? It was like super entertaining. Like I really like this arc overall. I knew like Gein was like, I had a feeling he would either die or something, or get knocked out, or like eventually he would have to make a decision, and I imagine he would like make the good decision, but he still like respects Krieg and like listens to him. It's like super fucked up. It's like some kind of like Stockholm syndrome type of shit. And yeah, like Luffy does not like this and gets super mad. And like the motherfucker shooting stakes at Luffy, like big ass stake. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do remember. I remember him shooting something like that.
Yeah, he shot something. He shot suction cups at him, dude. In the 4 Kids one.
Cups?
Yes, dude, the little
I remember
suction cups. They just, and he like pulls them off and they pop off. But here, like Luffy's getting fucking impaled by these giant nails, and he's just like running through it, and he's just taking it, and then Krieg pulls out like this
his ultimate shield.
Yeah, his like giant shield after like Luffy bum rush. It was basically Luffy bum rushed him, took all his damage, and then he had another shield. It's like, you can't get through this. But he just punches right through that shit and knocks the shit out of Krieg. It's a really good scene. I really liked it. But yeah, it's just Yeah, this is a suction cup.
Holy
Like that
shit.
shit in his
You know
arm
what
is a fucking suction cup, right there.
Uh-huh. I think I know where I'm remembering this stuff from.
What
There was a
from?
there was a game for the
Oh.
PS2 that was for One Piece, and it was like a kind of like a 3D fighter.
Oh
And
yeah.
I remember like the move sets, and I remember Don Krieg using the stakes and stuff, the nails.
Oh really?
There's a yeah, dude. It just like had
Uh,
like a brain blast or
yeah.
something because it all just came back to me.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, "There's no fucking way this was up for kids." And when I looked at it, I was like, "Yep, he shoots suction cups at him." It's like, what the fuck, suction cups? Okay. Luffy knocks the shit out of Don Krieg. Everyone's like, "Holy crap, he did it!" And Luffy's being a badass, like pulling the fucking spikes out of his body, which like none of those scenes are in there. And then they like punch. It shows the bloody shield that he punched through. It's really cool. And then yeah, all these guys they're just discussing like what's going on. Like everyone's like still stunned by what the fuck happened. And then again he knocks Don Krieg gets up and tries to shoot him, and again Luffy just knocks his ass down immediately. This is like really cool. Let's see, 1531. It's a really cool shot of Luffy looking very very menacing. It's just like crazy look. I really like this. I imagine this was like a panel in the manga or something. But I really like when they do stuff like this with him. Like just make him seem very, very menacing. Because he's just like this soft boy most of the time. Yeah, like no one can believe what happened. Krieg pulls out a spear, I think? Yeah, an exploding spear that he fights Luffy with. So on impact, it will explode or you'll stab him. And he basically just knocking Luffy with the shit around with them. Like this is the full fight arc, right? Like this is actually probably the longest fight this has had so far. Um, what is this here? Forget. Oh yeah, but in the midst of their fight, Krieg keeps attacking Luffy, and Luffy just keeps punching the tip of the spear every time, and eventually it breaks. And that's what his plan was. Is like just to break his spear and like punch the shit out of it, I guess. And yeah, episode 29, the deadly battle of the spear and its conclusion, and the spear of blind determination. Again, it's just like the end of the fight, right? Luffy's kept getting a couple more swings in, and he does the gum gatling on him. He throws like a big spike of wood at him, but Don Krieg is like able to like burn it away, basically, with his like flame cannon because he has a bunch of bullshit in his armor. Luffy does the gatling, which does not get through his Woot's armor. And so it's useless. But eventually Luffy like winds up in a way, and does like his biggest hit yet, like in the series so far. Yeah, Luffy like just charges up both of his arms, like slings them back, and then I guess Gum Bazooka is him hitting with both hands at the same time.
It's a push. He's just I'm
Is
gonna
it
shove
just
you
a
really, really, really hard.
but it like breaks the armor, right? It's not his pistol, which is like one sling. This is like a double charged sling. But yeah, it looks like he pushes them. So I don't know. But yeah, it breaks the armor, but Krieg throws a bunch of bombs, but they miss Luffy, and Luffy jumps out and does his bazooka one more time, knocking down Krieg. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, Luffy did it! He won!" But again, Krieg throws a metal net at him to basically they're falling in the water right now, and Krieg grabs him with the metal net to be like, we're gonna fall in the water and you're gonna drown and die, because I know you have a devil fruit." And that's his plan. But Luffy is able to like get his arms and legs free at least, like through the little holes in the net, which is really smart. Luffy, holy shit! And he does a Richie on him. He fucking grabs him with his feet like a Beyblade, and then does the crazy ass spinning move that he did a Richie. And this guy's about to get super fucked. And yeah, he calls it the giant gavel, and yeah, he just fucking slams this guy into the side of the ship, and it is over. That's how Luffy defeats Don Krieg, and Luffy is just like falling into the ocean. Like everyone's celebrating, everyone's super happy, and Luffy like just kind of casually falls into the ocean. Um, and it takes like Zeph a minute because everyone's like calmly looking around. And it's like, hey, you should probably go get him. He can't swim. And Sanji's like, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me? We're just like all sitting around, not doing anything. And like Zeph finally tells him, hey, you should probably go dive down for him. He's not gonna come back out. Sanji's like, what the fuck? You just told me earlier. And yeah, it's this whole thing about like Sanji and people's resolve. Like they're willing to go chase their dreams and die for it. And Sanji's been kind of like hiding away. Like after everything happened, Sanji's been hiding away on the ship, right? Not really going to chase the All Blue anymore. He's like, no, I'm fine with being here and all that, right? Like,
looks like I'm sure he feels like he's indebted to Zeph.
yeah, like in that way, right?
For saving his life and keeping him alive on that island for so long.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And it's just like him whenever he's swimming for Luffy, he's reflecting on like everything's happened. Krieg gets back up, but he's like fucked up and not really there, and he's just raging. But Gin like stands up, knocks his ass out, and is like, "Hey, we'll see y'all next time." And I don't know if we'll ever see Don Krieg again. We might. I think we might see Gin again. Well, he says he's gonna die, like the poison will still kill him, but we'll see. Maybe he'll show back up again. But basically, they got on a boat and leave, right? This is one of those cases like I hope we see Gin again at some point. I really don't care for Krieg, but we would see Gin again. That'd make me happy. And then yeah, it shows a shot of Nami, who's like crying, is like, I just want to be free, and she said like she'll probably never be able to. Not that she won't be able to see him again, but I guess like she kind of did enjoy her time with everyone, and it just shows like she's betraying them, but there's something bigger going on. She's asking to be free.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nami clearly looking super sad about everything. She's like, she just has a line like, "I just want to be free," and then she sails off. Right, which now I have more context of it because I've seen the next 2 episodes after this. But the last episode of the arc, Set Sail, Seafar, and Cook. Luffy wakes up after all the commotion and everything that's happened. There's like a celebration meal. Sanji tells Luffy, like, hey, I do want to go out there one day, but I still can't join you. I got stuff to do with these guys still. And Luffy's like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll accept it finally. But then they go to eat, and like all the cooks are just giving Sanji shit. Like your food is shit, your cooking is bad, and all that. And they're like clearly trying to push him away and out. And yeah, they're just not like just giving him a hard time, and he just like runs out and leaves. But he clearly hears them through the door later. It's like they're all trying to push him away because they actually want him to get out there and like do something and not just be sitting around here with them. And it's a touching moment. And like of course it's clearly that's what's happening when you're watching the episode. If you've seen any anime ever. But yeah, I mean it's good stuff. Luffy says like, hey, I won't take him unless he literally tells me to take him with him. You can't ask for him or anything. And this is when I don't know. So this is one of the bounty hunter brothers. He like lands on the ship to warn everyone like where Nami's going and shit. I don't know why he's getting half eaten by a shark in the middle of the water. Like, is this his power or something? Like, I don't. Do you have any idea why he shows up this way? Do you remember why he shows up this way?
No, not really.
This is how he shows up. Look. Sanji's like out there smoking, and he looks out and there's just a shark eating him. And then it takes like snapshots, I guess, of like what's happening. And then he just lands into the the restaurant again. But they clearly sent this guy to send a message, right?
Hmm.
Did they not? Did they just throw him in the water and he's supposed to swim back or something?
I I do not remember.
I mean, I imagine there's no answer. I think this is just a weird plot hole, but it's just like, what is going on? Anyways, I have no idea. But it's just like such a weird way of having this guy come back. They're just like, fuck it, we don't have another boat. Just have him swim, and then he'll conveniently get a heart attacked by a shark, and it'll take him faster. Like, I don't know. But anyways, he explains that Nami's going after Arlong. They think it's for the bounty money. And Luffy's like, all right, let's go get him. I'm not indebted to y'all anymore. All right, great. We're going. And then Sanji tells him, hey, I'll go with you. And he's offered the logbook, which I say Luffy's an idiot for not taking the logbook of the Grand Line, but whatever. Luffy's an idiot. He's raiding the fridge and taking all the food he can. And then there's like a couple touching scenes of like Zeph and Sanji's thinking about each other, like, hey, about everything that's happened. And, you know, Sanji's like finally walking onto the boat. And like everyone's like just dead staring at him, right? Some of his friends try to get revenge on him, like try to hit him in the back of the head, but he doesn't let it happen. But yeah, it seems like he's being banished or whatever, right? And then like a little cute scene, like just like right before he leaves, Zeph's like, hey, don't catch a cold. And just like, oh, dude, it's so good. This is a really good touching scene. Like Sanji just like fucking breaking down, like everything that's happened. Then he just turns around and like actually finally thanks him for everything he did for him, like everything he sacrificed. And he's just like gets on hands on knees and begs him. Yeah, it's a really good scene. Like I really like this show and like when they do shit like this, because it's like the tension's built up the whole time in the episodes, because like they're kind of like at odds the whole time. They don't really, even though there clearly is something there, but then it's like finally like, hey, he's leaving finally, and it all comes out. It's a really good scene. And then like all the cooks too, like everyone that's there, all his friends and stuff that are like just giving him shit the whole time. They're just like, I don't want to see you go either, but this is where we're going. And yeah, it's all the cooks are crying. It's really good. Like that's all. Like I can't say enough about it. They do that stuff really well. And again, with their faces and all that, like how expressive they are because of the art style.
Ugly crying.
Yeah, like just the crazy ugly crying. And yeah, he sends them off. And it's like a really quick cut with the deep Nami sailing up to Arlong Park. And to be continued. And that was the Syrup Village arc and Baratie arc. I'm excited to see more. Like definitely the Arlong stuff. Even like the first couple episodes, it's like intriguing. The fact that there's like other races too, which I didn't even think there was. There's actual like straight up fish people in this world. It's just like a lot of world building, right? And it's like all coming out now. It's like, oh, okay, this world's a lot more complicated than I initially thought, right? And it's like kind of growing it in a lot of ways. And like I imagine now, like definitely when they hit the Grand Line, it is like a fucking huge deal. Like you said, it is a landmark thing because how it's described and everyone around them talks about it, and the people who came from them talk about it. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about these like last two arcs or any thoughts about it?
No, not really. You summed it up pretty well.
Okay.
Can't wait to see you actually see the Nami arc after
Yeah.
all this time.
Yeah, after I mean I knew she was gonna betray everyone, like it's clear they're there. It's like she clearly had some other motive or what. Um but yeah, I think it's finally get answers on like what she was doing this whole time. Will be real neat. And finally having like I imagine this is the crew for a while, right? Like it is gonna be just these dudes for a bit, and pretty much no one else. Because I know there's so many characters in the show, but they can't just keep adding every arc, right? Like, there's no way. I imagine it has to be this crew for a while, unless I'm completely off base. I think
Well,
there's one that I know of, but I don't know if he's like way later or what. He's like a
um,
fucking deer man or something.
oh,
Chopper?
yeah, you're thinking of Chopper,
Chopper. I
but
just know his name is passing.
yeah, I mean, you get to him. There's some pretty good time between some of the crew because there's more, right? Of
Yeah,
course,
duh. Yeah.
duh, yeah, but
they
yeah, there's a pretty good span between when they get new crewmates.
like, okay.
So
It's not like
so
constant.
no, this we're like in the lightning round right now, man. He needs
Yeah.
like a very specific set of people to do very
Yeah.
specific things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, of course, they needed a cook, and of course, they need some other roles too. But
And I
yeah,
imagine
they'll
they got
get
to solve
there.
whatever Nami's fucking deal is.
Yeah.
And then maybe next arc after that will them actually be going to the Grand Line. Be like, okay, we got everyone. Let's go over there now. And then they get detoured for 5 seasons or some shit. I don't know. That's usually how these things go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, again, I can't wait to see more. Um,
But it's like, of course, like all these captains that Luffy and them's been fighting, they're not devil fruit users.
yeah,
Buggy was the first one, and his is like not all that impressive,
yeah,
because I mean,
yeah. It's not. It's just like,
once he gets like to the first devil fruit user fight, then you kind of like understand like how much of a step up these fights are.
mhm. Is there any hint you can give me what type of power the first devil fruit is, or is it a
The
big
first
thing?
devil fruit, and I don't want people to get mad at me,
Is
so
it
I
like a
probably
power
will.
type? I mean, imagine. Is it
A
like
power type?
physical
What do
based
you
kind
mean?
of thing, or is it like like, is it weird? Like,
It is a very big problem. Like
okay,
the the next the one that I'm thinking of
hmm.
is an actual huge problem, and it
Okay,
like sets a precedent. Like it's how can I say this?
like devil fruit people are really fucking bad or
Yeah,
something. It's a
there's
big
so
deal.
much there's so much devil fruit out there, man, and like Luffy's not gonna have the fucking answer to all of them all the time.
You got it. Okay, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that's. I don't think Luffy should win every fight or anything like, or be the
Mhm.
resolution of every fight. Definitely not. Because right now that's how it is, right? It's like, let's wait for
Like
Luffy to
yeah,
show up and do something.
he's just fighting regular ass people.
Yeah. And the next arc is fucking. Let's see here, my handy dandy. Arlong arc is 31 of 44. So what's that? 13 episodes.
Arlong Park. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you can see like Arlong's kind of like he's still not a devil fruit user, but he's like
He's from the Grand Line.
he's a step up from a human, like
Yeah.
some regular dude, because he's a different species.
Yeah. I'm trying not to read too much of like the
Yeah.
synopsis here,
So, yeah.
but
So you can kind of see like how the power scales were going up now.
yeah. I mean, after Hawkeye showed up, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Here's my anime. Here's my, like, again, cutting boats in half type shit. Because it wasn't there before, right? It was like very like Zoro was as anime as it got. But like when I say anime, I mean like cutting ships in half, laser beams, and yeah, it's just it'll get to that point. I imagine where like the power levels are like ridiculous. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see, like, I want to see what Zoro's deal is, and if I'm right about that whole thing. It'll be disappointing if it really is. She just fell down some stairs. I'll be real fucking pissed. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it might be an answer that's in episode 800, and I won't know for a very long time. I don't know, but Yeah, I'm excited every time. I'm always excited like to see more. Right, I'm definitely interested to see more. I've definitely, like, when I watched Fairy Tale, it was just kind of like an easy watch, and I actually halfway paid attention to it. But these, I feel like I am like completely watching and listening to.
You're a little bit more invested to it.
Yeah, and I thought it was gonna be like a lot slower burn. Like I really thought it was gonna be really tough to get through. But when I visualized that in my head, I was thinking of the 4Kids version. I was thinking of that shit. And Usopp's dumb voice and all that. But yeah, there's like violence and shit, like the fucking stakes and shit that were shooting at Luffy, and the spike shields, and the fucking out of the bag attack, or whatever, out of the back attack, all that stuff. Makes the stakes a lot higher than, fucking dumb her whipping out a slingshot or getting the chakram overpowering her so she kill her. So it's just so goddamn stupid. But I can't wait. I'll probably do the next 2 arcs. We're still trying to figure out the format of the show, right? And see if we can figure something out.
You mean like how often we're putting the podcast out?
That right, and of course, like how we're going, because this is a lot of episodes, and it's just going to get more with every arc. So I need to figure out a way of like summarizing my thoughts and then just discussing what happens, or like talking about the arc or something. And see if we can go do about that way. But again, it's just trying to figure out the format, because this like episode by episode stuff isn't going to work for very long. Clearly, I was trying to get through them pretty fast this time, but it still took some time. Right, like we're still 2:30 at this point.
That's about where I thought.
Yeah, with 2 arcs to discuss, and it's me mainly like just summarizing and like expressing how I feel about it, right? And you adding on to whatever you can. But yeah, like if y'all have any suggestions, that would help too, and see if we can try some stuff out. But yeah, I'm excited for the next arc. Other than that, we will see y'all next episode. We're gonna maybe probably try to do this bi-weekly, if anything. But I did want to get used to recording these, so I wanted to put another one out there. But yeah, we'll figure out the format and try to do the best we can. And until then, this is Adrian. I have a YouTube channel, Random Drop. Also, I am on twitch.tv/rando_0268. Bryce, where can people find you at?
I have my Twitter at xsuperbeastox, and I have my Twitch, twitch.tv/xsuperbeastox.
We will see you next time on A Bite of Gum Gum, the Arlong Park arc.
Yo ho ho, we took a bite of gum gum.
Set sail for one.